If your car broke down tomorrow and the repair cost $1,000, could you pay for it right now without going into debt? According to Bankrate's 2026 Emergency Savings Report, only 30% of Americans would use their savings. 30%. The other 70% would put it on a credit card, borrow from family, take out a loan, or reduce spending on other things just to survive one bill. And at today's average credit card rate of 25%, that $1,000 emergency quickly becomes $1,500 or more. This is not a money problem. This is a system problem. And it is happening to people who make good money. In the next 10 minutes, I'm going to explain why this is happening to the majority of Americans, including people earning $50,000, $60,000, even $80,000 a year. The answer is not what most financial experts say. It is not about lattes. It is not about avocado toast. There are 3 structural reasons most Americans cannot cover an emergency. And the third one is the one that turns a single emergency into a financial spiral. But first, let me tell you about Kareem. Kareem is 34 years old, lives in Memphis, makes $62,000 a year. He is not bad with money. He does not buy things he cannot afford. He does not gamble. He does not overspend on luxury. He has a budget. He tracks his expenses. He even has a savings account. It has $800 in it. That is it. $800. Between him and financial disaster. Last March, his water heater broke. Replacement cost $2,300. He put it on a credit card at 24% interest, and it took him 11 months to pay it off. By the time he did, he had paid over $500 in interest. He had drained his $800 savings to help make the payments, and he was back to zero. Then his car needed new brakes. Here is why this keeps happening, not just to Kareem, to the majority of Americans. And the answer is not spending habits. Reason 1. Prices went up. Wages did not keep pace. Since December 2019, prices are 26% higher. Everything costs more. Rent, food, insurance, utilities, medical. But wages have not grown 26% for most workers. The gap between what things cost and what people earn has eaten the savings buffer that used to exist. Every paycheck is spoken for before it arrives. There's nothing left over to save. Not because of bad choices, because of math. Reason 2. There's no system separating money. Most Americans have 1 or 2 bank accounts. Everything goes in. Everything comes out. Savings sits next to spending in the same account. And when savings is visible and accessible, it gets spent, not on emergencies, on the slow creep of everyday needs that feel urgent. A higher grocery bill, a parking ticket, a kid's school trip. Each one dips into the savings without feeling like a withdrawal, until the savings is gone, and the real emergency has not even arrived yet. Reason 3. And this is the one that creates the spiral. When an emergency hits and there is no fund, the emergency goes on a credit card. Credit card debt at 25% interest grows faster than most people can pay it down. So the emergency is not a one-time event. It becomes a monthly event, a minimum payment that lasts for months or years. And while you're paying off one emergency, you cannot save for the next one. So the next emergency also goes on the card. And the cycle deepens. This is the emergency debt spiral. And it is the real reason most Americans cannot cover a $1,000 expense. It is not one emergency. It is the compound effect of emergencies stacking on top of unresolved debt. Here are the numbers that explain this crisis. A US news survey from January 2026 found that 43% of Americans cannot pay for a $1,000 emergency from savings. The median emergency fund balance in 2026 dropped to $5,000, down from $10,000 just 1 year earlier. Cut in half. 1/3 of Americans cannot cover even 1 month of living expenses. 29% have more credit card debt than emergency savings. And among those who did use their emergency savings in the past year, 80% used it for essentials. Not vacations, not luxuries, rent, utilities, food, medical bills. People are using their emergency fund for regular life. Because regular life has become an emergency. Here is how to break this cycle, and I am going to be realistic. If you are in the spiral right now, you cannot magically save 3 to 6 months of expenses overnight. Anyone who tells you that is not living in your reality. But you can do one thing today that changes the trajectory. Step 1. Open a separate account. A HYSA, high yield savings account, at an online bank, not your regular bank. SoFi, Wealthfront, CIT Bank. This is your emergency buffer. It does not live next to your checking. The 1 to 2 day transfer time is the point. It creates friction. Friction prevents dipping. Step 2. Set a micro target, not 3 months of expenses. $500. $500 covers most minor emergencies. A flat tire, a doctor copay, a small appliance repair. And $500 is reachable. $25 a week for 20 weeks. Or $50 a paycheck for 5 months. Step 3. Automate the transfer. Set it up once. The day after payday. You do not decide each month whether to save. The system decides for you. Step 4. After you hit 500, push to 1,000. After 1,000, push to 1 month of expenses. After 1 month, push to 3. But you do not jump to step 4 until you finish step 2. $500 first. Everything else is noise until you have a buffer. Here is why $500 is the most important number in personal finance. $500 is the difference between paying cash for a flat tire and putting it on a credit card at 25%. A $500 tire repair on a credit card, paid off over 12 months at minimum payments, cost you approximately $75 in interest. So the $500 tire actually cost you $575. Now multiply that across 3 or 4 emergencies a year. Car repair, medical copay, home issue, phone replacement. Without a buffer, each one goes on the card. Each one accumulates interest. Each one makes the next month harder. With a $500 buffer, the first emergency is absorbed. No interest, no debt, no spiral. And here is the part that matters most. After you use the buffer, you rebuild it. The same $25 a week fills it back up. The buffer is not a one-time fund. It is a revolving shield. it absorbs the hit. You refill it. It absorbs the next one. Without it, every emergency becomes a debt event. With it, every emergency becomes a temporary dip. That is the difference. That is what $500 does. And that is why the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau found that households without any emergency savings are 3 times more likely to rely on credit for unexpected expenses. Karim opened a high-yield savings account at SoFi. Took him 9 minutes. He set up an automatic transfer of $30 per week, every Thursday, the day after his paycheck hit. He did not feel it. $30 a week is about $4.28 a day, less than a fast food meal. In 4 months, he had $520. Then his check engine light came on. Repair estimate, $380. For the first time in his adult life, Karim transferred money from his savings and paid cash. No credit card, no interest, no 11-month payment plan. He rebuilt the buffer in 3 months, then pushed to 1,000, then to 1 month of expenses. He is not rich. His salary did not change. He still lives in Memphis. He still makes $62,000 a year. But for the first time, an emergency did not become a crisis. The problem is not that Americans are bad with money. The problem is that the system is designed to make saving nearly impossible, while making debt effortless. You can open a credit card in 2 minutes. You can buy something you cannot afford in 10 seconds. But building a savings buffer takes months of discipline. The system is unbalanced. And the only way to win inside an unbalanced system is to build your own. Separate account, automatic transfer, $500 target, then grow from there. That is the shield. Do you have enough savings right now to cover a $1,000 emergency? Drop one below. Yes, if you could pay cash today. No, if you would need a credit card. Building, if you are working toward it right now. Or 0, if you have nothing saved. No judgment. 70% of Americans are in the same position. If you want the full emergency fund system, my emergency fund video is on your screen right now. It covers exactly how much to save and where to put it. And if you want the 5-account system that makes all of this automatic, that video is right next to it. Subscribe to Wealth Storyline. Every week, we break down the money systems most Americans were never taught. See you there. This video is for educational and entertainment purposes only and should not be considered financial advice.